If you're on Social Security and Disability Benefits, SSI, SSDI, listen up. I have great news. Congress is considering a 2,400 Social Security increase. This is breaking news, and I have the legislation details in front of me. I am going to share that on my screen, and then we're going to walk through it, and then I'm going to share with you the 5 things that are included in this legislation that are supposed to help seniors that are on Social Security. Now, this is a legislation that was introduced before and has now gathered more momentum because there's a bipartisan group of senators and Congress people across the aisle, across both chambers, that are now pushing this again. And I want to make sure that you are aware of how significant this is going to change your Social Security and disability benefits. Hello, my name is Kwame Kwade. I am a government benefits expert. I have been sharing content that helps seniors get the retirement benefits they deserve. Over 15 years now, I've been doing this. I create content on Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps, and other personal finance issues that are relevant to seniors. Now, if you watched my video yesterday, you probably caught the announcement that we recently launched a senior community for people age 55 plus. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But first, let's start with the breaking news. So I am going to share my screen and show you details of that legislation. And but before I do that, if you are new here, thank you for being here. I really appreciate you. I want to know where you're watching this broadcast from. So go into the comment section and let me know your city and your state. That is if you're new. If you've been watching this channel for a while, welcome back. I appreciate you being here this Thursday evening. So I'm going to share my screen and then show you this legislation and then explain in detail what this means. So the legislation, as you can see on the screen, is the HR from the 119th Congress, and the title of the bill is to enhance Social Security benefits and to ensure the long-term solvency of the Social Security program. In the House of Representatives, it has a sponsor and some co-sponsors, and this bill in the 118th Congress was introduced by Senator Bernie Sanders. So first, I am going to show you what Bernie Sanders had in mind with the bill originally, and then we're going to come back to this version, and then I'm going to walk you through it. So I am going to stop sharing my screen now, remove this, and then I'm going to show you where it all started so that we can get some context about this. And here we go. So here is how it all started. So you can see this is from Senator Bernie Sanders' page. And what he wanted to do was, he's part of the original proponents of this legislation, the Social Security Expansion Act. And it was supposed to do 5 things. And he introduced it in 2023, 2024. He wanted to extend the solvency of Social Security for 5 years, expand Social Security so that seniors can get $2,400 a year, fix how cost of living adjustments are calculated so you can get more Social Security increase, require millionaires and billionaires to pay their fair share into Social Security. You would not be surprised by that because it's Bernie Sanders. Improve the special minimum benefit. This is important so that seniors who are getting the minimum benefit in Social Security can get at least $18,000 in Social Security benefit. Restore students up to age 22 for children of deceased or disabled workers. So it's supposed to bring back children that were eligible for benefits that now could not. And there's a whole bunch of people that are supporting this, including some prominent organizations. So I'll go into that in a second. But let's go back to the legislation that I shared with you earlier, because that is where a lot of the details are in. So let me do that. So this is a big bill from Congress. It is 48 pages, and I have gone through the entire bill and have distilled it into what it means for you. But essentially, this is the House version to enhance Social Security and ensure the long-term solvency of the program. And it just goes on into a lot of legislative language that I am not going to bore you with, but I want you to see that this is an actual bill that is in Congress that has recently been brought back with more sponsors. And now I want to explain to you, what does this bill say? How does it help you? Well, there are 5 things in this bill that I want to explain to you. So into that in a second. Let me remove this. All right. So the first thing is that it is going to increase Social Security benefits by 2,400. So all current and future Social Security beneficiaries will receive an extra $200 per month or $2,400 per year. That is the first and prominent thing that this bill is supposed to do. But I want to talk about why the $200 a month is not enough. So if you were on my live yesterday, you heard me talk about this piece of news the um, from the Austin Statesman that was talking about why seniors need more money in terms of Social Security increase. And so I'm going to explain to you why this $200 increase it's not going to be enough, and it needs to be $370. So if you watch my video from yesterday, you will understand where the $370 came from. But before I do that, at the end of my broadcast yesterday, a whole lot of you had questions about the new community that we just started. And so I want to address that real quick. Give me 90 seconds and I'll explain what that means. So if you weren't here yesterday, I announced that we've launched a senior community for people age 55 plus, and it's supposed to help you get the best retirement benefits that you deserve. It's going to be on the school platform. And one of the perks that I announced was that every paid product, if you're part of this community, every paid product that we've created becomes free to you as part of this community. And the products, some of the products that we have currently that we're selling are displayed on the screen here. But why is this important? And why are we doing this? Because a lot of you were asking me questions. So I'm going to take the next 90 seconds to explain. There's a lot of content that we cannot share on YouTube or TikTok because they don't do well. When I come in and I want to talk about, part-time job ideas and opportunities for seniors, YouTube does not show those videos because they are not newsy, they are not exciting. When I come in and I want to talk about navigating senior living options, YouTube does not post those videos or give them a lot of views. So most people don't see them. So it's become a source of frustration, and a lot of you have asked for a community where we can share these deep content. We can go beyond what is possible on YouTube or TikTok. And so that's why we've created this community. It's going to be on the school platform, and there's so many perks. I don't want to bore you with it right now, but this is the website. I'm going to put the link in the comments and check it out. I think that for seniors that are looking for a deeper conversation and be able to get and unlock every dollar, every discount, and every advantage that you deserve, this community is going to be for you. And these are some of the topics we're going to cover, including tomorrow. I'm going to go live on that platform on a live Q&A for people who are members of that group. So I'm going to post the link in the chat and then check it out and see if it's something that you are interested in. So that's the explanation for that. So if you were there yesterday and you're wondering what this was about, this is the reason behind it. Now, let's go to the Senior Citizens League article yesterday that I was talking about, because I think it is going to help you understand why the $370 is needed instead of the $200 that Bernie Sanders is proposing. So inflation has started to go up, and right now it's at 2.7%. So experts are estimating that seniors are most likely going to get a 2.7% COLA increase. Well, the year is not over, and the Social Security Administration has a couple more months in order to figure out your cost of living adjustment. It's going to be announced officially in October 15th. But right now, based on where things are trending, we can have a good guess of what this is going to be about. It's either going to be 2.7% or more, maybe 3%. But here's the problem. Even if it's 3%, it is not enough because Social Security cost of living adjustment has never caught up with inflation. And so the Senior Citizens League, which is a very reputable organization that kind of estimates or provides a forecast of what your cost of living adjustment is going to be, came out with a report recently after the inflation report and said they are thinking that your cost of living adjustment is going to be between 2.6 and 2.7% for 2026. And then estimates for Social Security cost of living adjustment is different, but then Medicare Part B premium is estimated to go up by 11.6%. So then the Senior Citizens League were saying that here's the part I want you to pay attention to. They were saying that even if you get a 2.7% increase, it's not going to be enough to catch you up to what you have lost because your cost of living adjustment has never caught up to inflation over the last 10 years. So when they looked at the last 15 years from 2010 to 2024, seniors have lost about $370. So they are saying that if Congress wants to restore the money that seniors have lost, they need to pass a Social Security increase that gives seniors a $370 increase right away. That is a study by the Senior Citizens League. That is what I'm highlighting that you're seeing. So I am telling you all this to set the stage for walking you through the Social Security Expansion Act that Bernie Sanders is proposing, because that bill now is back up again. It has momentum, and now it's going to give you $200. But remember, when he proposed this 2 years ago, it was $200. A lot has happened since then. And so that $200 is no longer $200 that it was 2 years ago. So my point is that the first thing that the bill seeks to do from Bernie Sanders is to increase Social Security benefits by $200, but I think it needs to be higher. It needs to be $370, just as it was proposed by the Senior Citizens League. So that is the first thing you need to know. Now, your question is, how is that going to get done? Well, the good news is that this bill has bipartisan support, both in the House and both in the Senate. I just shared with you the House version. Then the Senate also has a version that Bernie Sanders wrote that is sitting there. So that is the first thing that it seeks to do, give you a $200 increase. And okay, so I'm getting a question about the link that I promised. So let me do that right now before I move on. So give me a second. Let me give you the link to the new membership site, and then we can move on. I'll put it in the comment section, and then I'll also drop it in the link in the comments to this video at the end of the video. So here it is in the comment section. Now, so the first thing is the increase. The second thing is going to do, which is the Social Security Expansion Act, which I think is going to be really good, is long-term solvency of the program. Why should you care about this? Well, you may not be paying attention, but Social Security Trust Fund is running out of money. And in 2033, if nothing is done, you also know this, you are going to get a pay cut in your Social Security benefits, which is going to be between 19 to 25%. Well, how do you avoid that? Well, Congress has to do something. They have to either bring in more money into the Social Security Trust Fund or slow down how much money is leaving the trust fund. Those are the only two ways, or a little bit of both. So what the Social Security Expansion Act is proposing, the bill will ensure Social Security solvency for 75 years by extending the payroll tax to all earned income above $250,000. This part is very important, and it says it right there. I will show you where it says that in the bill, in the summary that Bernie Sanders has on his website right here. You know, this second part. So the part that I'm highlighting is the part that is talking about that. Under the bill, over 90% of households will not see their taxes go up. So let me read what he has on his bill. Extend the solvency of Social Security for 75 years by requiring the wealthiest American households to pay their fair share of taxes. Today, because of the earnings cap on Social Security taxes, A CEO making 20 million a year pays the same amount of money into Social Security as someone who makes 176,100 a year. This legislation will lift this cap and subject all income above 250,000 to the Social Security payroll tax. Under this bill, over 91% of households would not see their taxes go up by 1 penny. So essentially, what this is going to do is not only put money in your pocket, but it's also going to extend the life of Social Security by moving the Social Security earnings cap to 250,000, so that anybody making 250,000 and above needs to pay taxes on their Social Security taxes on their income. And he gave an example: a CEO making $220 million will still pay 176,000 portion of their income in Social Security taxes. And so that is partly draining the amount of money that is coming into the Social Security system. So this legislation is supposed to fix that. And if it does, Social Security is going to be extended and is going to be good, and is going to be able to pay 100% of what you are eligible for and entitled to for the next 75 years. So it's going to save it for at least 3 generations. So currently, with the 176,000 cap, a lot of money is being left on the table because not all income is being subject to Social Security taxes. That's the second thing that the bill is going to do. Now, the third thing, which I think is very important, actually probably the most important thing this bill is going to do, is to help people that are barely making it. Barely making it. So let's talk about that. So there are seniors right now that are making the minimum Social Security benefit and can barely survive on that. So it says improve the special minimum benefit for Social Security recipients. So let's read that. I am going to walk you through that. The bill would help low-income workers stay out of poverty by increasing the special minimum benefit and indexing the benefit level so that it pays equal to 125% of the federal poverty line, or over 18,000 for a single worker who had worked their full career. What does that mean? It essentially means that no senior that has worked and paid into Social Security and done their fair share, worked 35, 40, 50 years, should live in poverty. And this bill is going to ensure that that happens. Why should you care? Well, there are a lot of seniors that currently are receiving $900, $1,000, $1,100 in Social Security benefits and can barely make it, because once you take rent out of that amount, there is not much left. And so those seniors are struggling. And so this bill is going to help fix that problem by making sure that those seniors do not live in poverty according to how the government estimates what poverty is based on the federal poverty level. So each year, they are going to adjust your Social Security benefits to make sure that you are 125% of the federal poverty level if you are receiving the special minimum benefit. Now, the special minimum benefit was created with good intention. It was supposed to make sure that seniors that paid into Social Security earned their 40 credits, worked for 10 years at least, but worked in low-wage jobs do not get very little Social Security benefit. So they created a special minimum that, let's say, I'm giving you an example, a rough example. Let's say that the work you did over 30 years, 40 years only allows you to get $600 in Social Security benefit. Well, they will bump you automatically to the special minimum, which is probably like $900. Well, even with that bump, it's still not enough. So a lot of seniors are living in poverty as a result. And so this legislation will fix that problem and take the special minimum into another level, into 125% of the federal poverty level. So each year, when the government releases their federal poverty level numbers, that is adjusted for inflation, your Social Security benefit will also be adjusted with that. And so you always will stay 125% above the federal poverty level, so that according to the government, no senior would live in poverty. So that's the another thing that it does. Now we're talking about COLA and how the cost of living adjustment has lost seniors a lot of money for the last 15 years, and that the government owes you $370 in increase just to catch you up from what you've lost. That is according to the estimate from the Senior Citizens League that I shared with you earlier. Well, this bill, the Social Security Expansion Act, will try to fix that problem. And I want to go back again and read you what it said in that piece so that we can take a look at that. So I'm going to go to that section and read it to you. So here is the part. So increased cost of living adjustment. That is what it says. It's an increase. This bill would more accurately measure the spending patterns for seniors by adopting the Consumer Price Index for the elderly, CPIE. Older Americans, by and large, are not going out on spending sprees, buying big screen TVs, laptops, or latest tech gadgets. Rather, they spend a disproportionate amount of their income on healthcare and prescription drugs, which will be reflected in the formula for calculating COLA under this legislation. And there couldn't be a more truer statement than what I just read to you. And let me explain why. Because the current system for calculating your cost of living adjustment is the CPIW, the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers. Well, they are looking at spending patterns of urban wage earners and clerical workers. That's why Bernie Sanders is talking about big screen TVs and tech gadgets, because you're talking about younger population that are working, and you are taking their spending habits and adjusting Social Security for an older population that are spending their money disproportionately on things that this population are not even concerned about. So that is why the disparity is there, and that is why your cost of living adjustment is always out of whack, because on one hand you get a 2.5% increase like this year, and then you're going to get an 11.6% increase in your Medicare Part B premium. The same government is doing that because they're going to take your Medicare Part B premium out of your Social Security check. Well, how can they give you a 50% increase based on a 2.5% COLA and then tell you that your Medicare Part B premium, it will go up 11%? And they can say that in the same sentence. So that is what this legislation is trying to solve, is change how the COLA is calculated. So that is the fourth thing that this is going to do. There is two more things I want to share with you about this legislation, because I think it's very important for you to know. So let's walk through that. And let me add that back to the stage. So another key section of this bill that I think seniors should pay attention to is the improving the it says that require millionaires and billionaires to pay their fair share into Social Security. So currently workers have 12.4% taken out of each paycheck and contributing to Social Security Trust Fund, half paid by the employer and half by the worker. This bill will require the wealthy to pay the same 12.4% on their investment and business income by increasing the net investment income tax by 12.4% and applying it into certain business income not already covered by payroll tax. Now, this part, let me explain why this is important. So, if you know, people who are wealthy have a lot of ways to claim their income. So they don't necessarily have to take wage income. They can take money from their business in a different way, dividends. They can take investment income from investment in the stock market and take all that as income. But those income sources do not get taxed Social Security taxes. They are only paying taxes on wage income. So if you are, a wealthy person, and you have a business and you want to pay yourself, and you say, you know what, I'm just going to pay myself a small salary, but I'm going to take a lot of my income from other sources, you essentially avoid paying social security taxes by and large. So what this bill is trying to do is to catch those people and bring them back into the net, because remember, the reason why the social security trust fund is running out of money is because there are fewer workers that are paying into the system, supporting more retirees than ever. There was like a 5.1 to 1 ratio, 5.1 workers to 1 retiree just a few decades ago. Now is 2.7 workers to 1 retiree. Well, that's a significant drop. And so this legislation is to make sure that all the other places people are sneaking their income, they are all brought into the net and required to pay social security taxes. So that is what this is about. And then finally, there's a part about students that I can read to you. It is talking about the fact that there are students that used to be able to get social security at a certain age, restore social security benefits for children of deceased or disabled workers up to age 22 if they are full-time students in college or vocational school. This reverses a cut that was made in 1983 during the Reagan administration, providing more support to young adults attending school whose parents cannot work due to death or disability. So that is the other thing that this legislation is going to try and fix. So that is what this is about. I wanted to bring you this breaking news, but before I leave, let's talk about Medicare, because you guys have been seeing me post about Medicare a lot, and I want to share some good news about our partner chapter. So right now, if you're turning 65 or you are on Medicare and you're not sure you're in the right plan, you can join the over 2,000 of you that have already called chapter and gotten help with your Medicare plan. If you call chapter today at the number you see on the screen, they are going to look at your plan, and then if you are in the best plan, they're going to tell you, hey, you are in a great plan, no need for changes. But here's the thing, 90% of seniors are in the wrong Medicare plan. And so what chapter would do for you is find the plan that fits you locally, because a lot of these Medicare plans are location based and they have access to all 24,000 of them. And one of the things I like about these guys while we're working with them is that they come out of this out of their own pain. One of the co-founders watched his parents get frustrated in signing up for Medicare, got into the wrong plan, paid hundreds in premiums, and they wanted to do something about that experience. And that is one of the motivations that helped them start this company. Over 2,000 of you have already called them, and I've received a lot of testimonies from you guys. So those of you who haven't, there may be a small window to switch to a better plan. And why is switching to a better Medicare plan important? Well, I will leave you with this. You are going to get more out of Medicare than Social Security in your lifetime when it comes to cost and payment. Medicare is going to pay for more services for you than Social Security is ever going to give you money. And so you've earned it, you deserve it, you might as well get the best, because there's nothing worse than needing healthcare from Medicare and realizing you're in the wrong program or in the wrong plan. So call chapter today, 539-205-2147, or go to the special link that they created for us, Insider link, and you can sign up there. I'll also drop the link in the comments. And as I said, 2,000 of you have done it. They can save you $1,100 a year. These are the people you'll be talking to, and they are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So, guys, if you like what you heard, if you're new here, I have seen a lot of likes in the video already. If you haven't hit the like button, go ahead and do that so that more people can see this information. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the last subscribe button, because we always appreciate your support. So I'll be back live tomorrow. I'm looking forward to seeing you all. I hope this information has been of value to you. And if it had, let me know in the comments and hit the like and subscribe button. I will see you tomorrow.